Welcome to the top 1% of marketing talent. That's you. Coming up on today's show, OpenAI makes some headlines at its first ever Cannes Lions appearance. A top ad exec says the quote, time and materials model is dead. Dead, I tell you. The most hated man in advertising, not Chris and myself, has some new thoughts, all that. Plus, Reel recognizes Sesame Street scam tactics and logo cover-ups at the FIFA 2026 World Cup. If you want to live in the red carpet luxury of southern France, but can't afford French fries, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show about nothing but marketing. My name is Matthew Newell.
And I'm Chris Stone. And this is the show where even if you always wanted to be an architect, you get all the marketing info you needed, yada, yada, yada. You become a CMO. Matthew, let's giddy up.
Before we start our engines, a very big thank you to Professor Heiler for joining us last week. If you missed that conversation about his university class on influencer marketing, it's well worth a watch or viewing. It was last week or 2 weeks ago. Jump back in. But right now, here's everything you need to know about an industry that just can't say no to another Tux and Champagne event on the company card. Today's lead headline, OpenAI attended its first ever Cannes Lions in the south of France this week. For newbie marketers, Lions is kind of like the Cannes Film Festival, but advertising, not film. The quote that will get your attention, the CRO, Denise Dresser, said, "We're moving from the attention economy to the intelligence economy. And what consumers really want is usefulness. And so that's what we're about." So she said that OpenAI wants its advertising business to be measured by whether ads help people out getting things done. So I know. So this is less like Google's very simple one-click, attribution marketing. This is an interesting note, though, too. Someone noted, I can't remember if it was the article or the person from OpenAI said, it took Meta until 2021, so 17 years, to break $100 billion in ad revenue. OpenAI, meanwhile, has told investors it expects to hit that same $100 billion in revenue within the next 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So 17 years to six and a half. The additional headline from OpenAI, we are clearly in the advertising business now. Chris, the Band-Aid has been ripped off. What say you?
The intelligence economy, where a robot can't tell you how many R's there are on strawberry, but now wants to sell you strawberries. And gunning for Meta's $100 billion in 4 years instead of 17, that's pretty lofty. I mean, especially considering what's going on with OpenAI and the eroding levels of trust as of late. Not to mention their competition is taking some of their share, Matthew. It'd be interesting to kind of see how this plays out.
Yeah, it's a big moment for the ad business and the AI business. Like we're literally seeing them cross over for the first time.
How many R's are there in strawberries?
17.
That's the intelligence economy right there.
That's right. Strawberry. Next up in our marketing queue, WPP, formerly known as Waltz Prize Peace Pipe, that was the original name, is one of the world's largest ad agencies. And their head announced also at Cannes Lions that, quote, the time and materials model is dead. So just a little background. This is the era of advertising that I grew up in. I didn't grow up in the creative explosion of the 60s or 70s. I definitely grew up in the time and materials the lawyer model of advertising. Cindy Rose, the head, said, who we've covered on this show before, she said, this idea that we have to produce a staff plan with a number of humans and their hourly rates in the world of AI, where things get done faster and cheaper with hybrid human to agent work teams. That's just not a model that's sustainable, she said. She went on to say that with the speed of AI increasing both production and scale, the value to her clients is growth. Quote, if I think about what my clients want most, it's growth. Why wouldn't I create a perfect strategic alliance to remunerate their success, blah, blah, blah. This seems, I remember agency models have been dabbling in this for years, where your success is my success. You increase by 6% overall revenues, we get X amount of dollars. Chris?
I mean, it sounds great to their clients, and I'm sure, and I love the confidence, but WPP's Wilt's Peace Pipe is going to bet its paycheck on selling more Land Rovers, which is basically a vehicle that's famous for how often it's in the shop. I don't know if we place our bets on that, but it is an interesting sort of pivot, if you will.
Yeah, and it might, they may have no choice in this one,
right?
And our final headline, John Mandel is a notorious name and a good name in the advertising business. He's the one who blew the whistle on the ad business a decade ago, calling out a lack of transparency around client billing and kickbacks. He's the former head of MediaCom, and now he's upgraded the transparency in the ad business from an F 10 years ago to, at best, a C, probably a D. His perspective is that advertisers are now more educated about agency contracts in general, but now the opaque culprit is, quote, principal media. And this is one of those things, you've got to be a part of one of these massive ad agencies to be a part of it. It's complicated, but it's basically buying ads in bulk and then marking that up to resell to their clients. And he says that that's the newest non-transparent part. What my editorial, what Mandel may not realize, is that in the world of middle achiever marketers like myself, a C or even a D means passing. We hear C and they're like, woo-hoo-hoo. So he may want to revisit his metaphor, maybe give the scale based on the percentage of like strength of characters from like the Marvel universe, or like right. strength of whiskeys or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny. Like the guy who gave advertising an F a decade ago now says it's pulled itself up to a D. I guess in marketing terms, like you're talking about with Marvel, it's the Marvel character Hawkeye. Right, technically on the Marvel Universe team, but nobody's quite sure why. There he is, passing.
Oh, you're still here? Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, Matthew, it's time once again for our favorite, well, at least mine, segment, which is called Real, Recognize, Real. And so gather round. For once, we have a public service campaign that didn't make me want to count the seconds until it was over. Okay, fine. It made me count, but for a good reason. Take 9, that's Craig Newmarks, who's the Craigslist guy. His anti-scam crusade just dropped a campaign called Count Before You Click. And the spokesperson? Not some sweaty cybersecurity bro in a quarter zip telling you to update your passwords. Nope. They hired The Count from Sesame Street, the purple vampire who's been aggressively counting things at children since the Carter administration. And here's why this is absolutely gorgeous. The whole scam industry playbook runs on one trick: panic. Your bank account is frozen. Click now. They need you sweaty and rushed and stupid. So Take 9's entire fix: pause for 9 seconds. That's it. Long enough to notice the URL is spelled like a ransom note. Now, who on earth do you trust to make you count to 9? A guy who's been doing it for 2,500 years, allegedly. He's a pro. It's the single most on-the-nose, perfect casting decision I've seen all year, and I'm furious that I didn't think of it. In the first spot, the count, interrupts a fake bank alert with a jazzercise routine. Heel taps for 9 seconds while a scammer waits. That's the kind of unhinged confidence I respect, Matthew. And the target is Gen X and millennials, the sandwich generation, babysitting their kids' screens and their parents' inboxes. The exact people who learned to count from this puppet in the first place. They didn't pick a mascot. They picked your childhood and weaponized it for good. Scams cost folks nearly $16 billion last year. And the antidote is a Muppet making you tap your heels. That, my friends, is real recognizing real. One, two, Yeah, you get it, Matthew.
I love it. And the fact that I love the target audience are the young kids. And it proves something actually about scams is that it has less to do with intelligence and it really has more to do with just paying attention.
Right.
That sandwich generation they're just focused on their sandwiches. That's why they're called the sandwich generation.
Man, I'm hungry.
All right, Chris, I'm not going to be able to outdo that. Anytime you have a Sesame Street character in your real recognized reel, it's always going to take first place. Mine, and this did get some headlines already. So if our viewers and listeners have seen it, fine. But Chris will be showing some of the visuals here. I would encourage you to actually do a little bit of an internet search as well because they're fun. So my real recognized reel for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, I've got the statistics right here. It is 728 stadiums over 4,922 days. There are going to be 6 gazillion matches between 10 million players. So that's the FIFA World Cup. In all of these stadiums, though, FIFA, because they're a nonprofit, but money grubbing fools. They're both can be true at the same time. They are requiring if your stadium has either prominent advertising or has naming rights in one of the stadiums, they're forcing the participating stadium to cover it up. I mean, it's unusual, but whatever. If you're gonna, whatever, it is what it is. Well, people like Chris and myself who have been in the ad business for a while, everything is an opportunity. So you hear we're not gonna show my logo. Everything is an opportunity. So look this up. You'll see some over my shoulder right now. The advertisers got very creative in how they covered up their logo. In some cases, like I think the most famous one so far was Levi's, because they covered it up to be form-fitting because the shape of the Levi's logo is undeniable. So you're still going to see it. I remember seeing some other logos that had to do with like soft things. The brand was soft things. So they covered it up, but it was all in, cotton balls or whatever. Just so unbelievably creative. And this is what advertisers and marketers and to a degree PR people do so well is everything is an opportunity. They take this is the metaphoric lemon and all these advertisers have turned it into lemonade. So just wanted to tip my hat to them for all the creativity. And I'm sure it was a scramble. It sounds like a lot of these places didn't even have a heads up that this was coming their way.
I love it, Matthew, and I'm glad you highlighted it here as World Cup is happening. It's so easy to look at all the marketing and the commercials and the logos up everywhere when you actually look at this and they the whole lemon to lemonade thing. I think a lot of brands that said that were told, hey, you got to cover up your logo on top of this stadium or whatever because you're not a partner with FIFA. They just covered it up and just said, well, we can't do anything about it. But especially Levi's, they really leaned into it. I mean, they changed all their social media to show that logo, that white logo, as it was covered up, and they just and so it was super bold. But I mean, listen, we're talking about Levi's right now, and that's exactly what they want.
That's exactly right. And I remember back in my State Farm days is when we announced the stadium partnership with, or stadium sponsorship with, both Atlanta and in Arizona. And let's just say that was a not a small contract in terms of dollar outlay.
Yeah.
And I don't even think part of the conversation leading up to that we ever thought, could there be a situation where we're writing these gazillion-dollar checks to be in the stadium, and then they're going to cover it up for something completely, like, that's the whole reason you name your stadium after.
Exactly.
So such a fight. Like, I don't know how
who makes the rules?
FIFA makes the rules, which is why some of them went to jail a number of years ago.
Oh, okay. That's what you get for making the rules, FIFA.
That's right. All right, Chris, let's play wrong answers only. Only questions about marketing and advertising. Only wrong answers. We'll stick with the World Cup. It is well underway. Chris, if you could choose wrong answers only, a universal sponsor for the World Cup, so it'd be the World Cup presented by blank, what brand would you choose?
Well, of course, I'm gonna lean towards beverage. I'm gonna lean towards an adult beverage. There's many adult beverages that are being consumed around World Cup watch parties and the stadiums and all of that. And there's none more delicious than Colt 45. So there you have it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World Cup 2026.
Bam!
Brought to you by Colt 45.
Yes.
That's terrific. What I would want to do is go to find the most random, like either find a universal mom and pop place. So like a little food stand, pizza place, something like that, where there could be one anywhere in the world, and pick a random one. So let's say it's like Sal's Pizzeria in Naples, Italy.
Shout out to Sal. Yeah,
exactly. I would want to do a random assigning of the spot, and then it's 2026 FIFA World Cup presented by Sal's Pizzeria on 2nd Avenue in Naples, Italy. And just like a poor guy.
Have like a great ad, but a basic ad, right? So like not, full on AI CGI. It would just be like, like basic. It would be awesome.
It's a one take, phone video.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Sal. And he
would get people's attention because
he would be a millionaire. He would be a multi-millionaire overnight.
Oh yeah,
and probably a legend. You know how those FIFA people are. Once it's in the lore, it's there forever. So his grandkids. So you're welcome, Sal.
Well, I think Sal now will be a millionaire after us mentioning it here on this show. Right?
I know, Sal. You're well on your way. If there's a Sal that sells pizza in Naples, Florida. Naples, Italy. Sorry.
I mean, he'll be everywhere. So Naples, wherever. Well, Matthew, speaking of legends, we could not have a show of marketing, machines, and mischief go by without talking about something that someone who has been a part of our careers, both of our careers, and a massive legend in the world of music. We both worked under him, many rungs on org charts back in the day. And we just wanted to take this moment and maybe just honor the legend that is Clive Davis, who passed away this week at the age of 94. Matthew, any quick stories you have on Clive that you want to share?
I do, and mine's actually marketing related. I still, to this day, I stole one of his tricks. I don't think I ever heard him say this, but I just remember his employees talking about this. When you have a new artist, he always had, and maybe it was modified, but at least when I was working with him, he had a 3-step plan. Sell it to the label first, sell it to the industry second, then sell the new artist to the general public. But you have to get that buy-in. And in my marketing campaigns, I mean, I've been talking about this for decades since then. First, you sell the big marketing campaign internally, then you sell it within the industry and industry publications and stuff like that, and then you sell it to the public. And I followed that playbook, and it worked. It worked 9 times out of 10.
I love that. And so Clive did a great job in selling to the industry, the second component of what you're talking about. When we had our big BMG conventions, there would always be one day that was just Clive's day. It was typically one of the last days of the 5-7 day long convention. It would be in Toronto. It would be, Seattle. There was various places that this BMG convention would be in. And his conventions, his presentations were absolutely historic, because you'd walk into the ballroom and you'd look for meat to be hanging in various. Why? Because it was almost literally freezing. And he would do that because you couldn't fall asleep if you were too cold. Everything was tactical in that entire ballroom, including the volume. As the day got longer, you were just pounded and pounded and pounded. Matthew, I'll never forget hearing the same Whitney Houston song 4 times in a row. And by the time that thing was pounded into your hypothalamus, you were ready to sell millions to the world. So shout out to Clive Davis, an obvious legend and a big influence on both of us. Yeah. So rest in peace, Clive Davis.
Yes. R.I.P. I'll do my Clive post. This is on all of his headshots. He was always very serious.
And he would do this while the music was playing.
A lot of pointing.
Do the point.
Pointing to nothing.
Nope. Not sometimes to you though. Sometimes he point to you.
Me?
Matthew, I see you. All right, that's it for this week's Marketing and Machines and Mischief. This has been a fun one. Before you go, go down and click that subscribe button. Listen, folks, it's an investment in your career. You subscribe, you hit that like button, and then every week you get better and you learn more about the greatest profession in the world, and that is marketing. And then while you're down there, wrong answers only. Right? What brand would you what brand would you use for the World Cup? And Colt 45 is taken, and so is Sal's. Shout out to Sal's.
Sal's. Ooh, it's getting me hungry.
But as always, before we go, we have a
little lesson learned. Don't try to dress up ad breaks as a hydration breaks, if you know what I'm saying.
I see what you did there. Bye.